Garnacho, Hojlund, Mainoo. I'm sure you all saw that picture of them celebrating Garnacho's goal versus West Ham. They are the future of Manchester United. They are the bright spark of Manchester United. Them and the under-18s. In a season that's been poor for United, there's youth to build around, but they need to be nurtured into a good environment. And Ten Hag said, we signed young players and we are giving young players opportunity, like Hojlund, Garnacho and Mainoo. This is a process that goes with ups and downs, and the experienced players, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, they will help get them over the line. I think Ten Hag and INEOS are starting to implement a new philosophy around the young players at United, the future of Mainoo, Garnacho and Mainoo. I already see changes. I already see the direction that Ten Hag and INEOS are looking to build for the future, and that is around Garnacho, that is around Hojlund, that's around Mainoo, a couple of the experienced players. And it takes me back to something that Omar Barada said about 2 years ago. Omar Barada said this when he was at Manchester City. He said, and he was talking about Manchester City's success, but he said this. And Omar Barada is the new Man United CEO, if you didn't know. He said it's always has been about finding the right squad balance between young players who are at their peak, and players who can bring more experience. It has not been about investing in superstars. We like to find the right players, and with time they become superstars because of the success of the team. It's about ensuring that we find players that can adapt to our style of play, believe in culture in place, and then buy into it. We love making investments in players at different age levels and then them blossoming and reaching their highest potential. That's something that Omar Barada said, and that's something that INEOS want to do at United. They want to develop Hojlund, Garnacho and Mainoo into the best players they can be, build a team around them, make them for the future. But to do that, they want to instill a mixture of players in their prime alongside with them so that the team is playing well. They want those experienced players in, and they want a culture reset on and off the pitch. And that's what Manchester City did, and that's why they're so successful. Manchester United have this young core to build around, but how is their philosophy going to be around this young core? How are they going to get the best out of them? Build the team around Hojlund, Garnacho and Mainoo. I really want to see more of Amad Diallo. That's the one thing. Ten Hag's been playing a lot of youth, but the Amad Diallo not playing, the getting rid of sort of Alvaro Fernandez, Isaac Hansen, not the biggest fan of, but only a few youth can come through and make it. But they are the future. You build around those players, you develop them. We turn these players into superstars. We continue to develop them while trying to develop players like Dalot, Rashford and Martinez, who are in their prime years. Players that can lift the ceiling of the team when in form. There's a good player in Dalot. Will he be good enough? We'll have to wait and see. There's a good player in Rashford when he's in form. Will he find form again? Let's see. And there's a very good player in Martinez. If he can stay fit, continue to develop those guys, get the best out of those, develop the youth, and then utilize the experience of Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, experienced good players, Varane and Casemiro, utilize their experience, even Johnny Evans off the pitch. And then what you do is you're going to bring young talents into that squad that are going to suit the philosophy on and off the pitch to join up with Hojlund, Garnacho and Mainoo. You're going to bring players in who are already in their prime that are going to lift Manchester United up a level, players that are going to suit the philosophy again on and off the pitch. Young players that are maybe 20 that like Hojlund that could be developed, players that are already in their prime, players that can lift the level, players with experience. And then you're going to create the best Man United you can. You're going to create the best environment on and off the pitch, build around these young players, develop these players, get the best out of players in their prime, build a team of togetherness that can all play the philosophy and all have the right place, all in the right place off the pitch, bring in players that lift us up a level, and then continue to develop the youth. Shea Lacey, Ahmad Ibrahimov, Harry Armas, Jack Fletcher, Ethan Williams, Joe Hugo, Willie Kambwala, some of them are a lot younger than others, players to bring in. And that is how you start the rebuilding philosophy at United. The Busby Babes, Manchester United, it's always been about youth. And I think Garnacho, Hojlund, Mainoo are the future, and INEOS, Omar Barada, I think have made it clear this is going to be the new philosophy. We're going to build around the future. We're not going to let players stay for more than 2 years if they've been poor. We're going to actually move on players quick and prioritise the youth. And Ten Hag said this post-West Ham match. He said people must recognise the position we're in. We are Manchester United. We are building a team. We are getting players back, and that will now help us definitely. But we're building a team. He said we're building a team. We've got the young players. We've got the core. The one thing I noticed today, and the one thing I'm positive about, because United isn't perfect, a lot of players need to go. A lot of players I want out of the club. When I see Martinez, when I see Hojlund, when I see Mainoo, I see Garnacho, I see 4 players that we can build our future team around. I know a place to start. It's not a whole new 11. I see the future. And Ten Hag said it's all about togetherness. Those three, Hojlund, Garnacho and Rashford, and then the back line, and then the likes of Bruno Fernandes who served them. Then you have Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro and the fullbacks. Everyone contributed, and it's true. We've got great players. We now need togetherness. We saw togetherness today. We now need to improve in certain weak spots. Martinez depth, potentially another winger to push Rashford out if he's having a bad game. Someone to sort of come and eventually replace Casemiro and come and eventually replace Varane, and depth for injuries. But the team was playing together, and that was a massive thing. But I now want to focus this segment of the video on the likes of Garnacho, on the likes of Hojlund, the likes of Mainoo, and what they've done so well. And this is what Ten Hag said on Garnacho post-match. You can see his confidence is growing. He's also then playing better on the ball. He's a target. He's linking up. He gets himself in the box all the times. Ten Hag said, I'm very happy. There are times he has to get used to the position because he prefers the left a little more. But now he's on the right. He has the freedom and fluidity in the game where he can find spaces. I think the angles work for Garnacho more on the right because he's got more spaces, and the angle of his crossing makes it easier for him and simplifies his game. Ten Hag then said on Garnacho, we know he's good in his attacking, dribbling, creating. He can be direct. He can also secure the ball, so I'm impressed with the performance. Even during the third game in 7 days, he's performing. This is what it means to be a United player. Garnacho started 19 games in a row and he's performed in his last 3. And Ten Hag is saying that's what it means to be a United player. You've got to perform. And what I've noticed about Garnacho is at right wing, he's getting his head up. He's direct. He always wants to get forward, make something happen. Antony doesn't do that. Sancho doesn't do that. They don't look to make things happen. Rashford, when he's on form, beats his man, makes things happen. I like that Garnacho's got that drive, that directness to want to make things happen. That's why Doku and Pep is going back to those old school wingers. He works hard for the team. His work rate is incredibly underrated. He presses, he tracks back. He wants to be here. He wants to play in the Ten Hag, and he's a raw talent. Decision making will improve. Other aspects will improve, but he wants to be here. He wants to be here under Ten Hag, which is something that unfortunately you can't say about all the United players. And since Garnacho's moved to right wing, he's in 7 games. He's got 4 goals, 1 assist, 18 chances created, which is the 4th most in the league. Also, I think he's got 6. I think he's got 9 big chances created, which is 5th or 6th in that time as well. And what it adds, and a lot of people don't mention this, is because Antony's not a threat down the wing and he's one-footed, he's slower and he's predictable, teams would press United so the passing angles would be easier for them to always pass it down the right-hand side. So Antony would get a lot more of the ball than Garnacho or Rashford, who are on the left. Now that Garnacho's on the right, there's an equal threat on both the right and left-hand side, which makes it harder for oppositions. And now I want to talk about Rasmus Hojlund, a player that, if you follow my channel, you know I was backing this guy when he was getting stick, when he was getting hate. I said Rasmus Hojlund's going to become good. 7 goals and assists in his last 7 games. 6 goal contributions in his last 4 Premier League games. And Hojlund said this post-match, we are young. I just turned 21 and Garnacho's still 19. We're getting better every day. You can see it. The connection is growing. Hojlund spoke about after the game in midweek versus Wolves, how they've got a group chat, him and the young players, to sort of push on and make each other better. There's a new culture at United of the young players coming through. And hopefully if INEOS do sell the bad eggs and we can move United forward, this can be the culture that can stay at United. Hojlund works super hard for the team, never stops running, never stops pressing, follows Ten Hag's instructions, dribbles well, moves the ball well considering his frame, creates for his teammates, his movement opens up space for other players, he makes runs, he holds up and links well, the way that he dribbles at people, the way that he can drop deep, collect the ball, move it forward, the way that he can get around an all-round play, and when he does get service, he does provide, he is pretty clinical. There's a great player in Rasmus Hojlund. And then going into the other young player, Kobbie Mainoo, came off at 64 minutes in because this would have been his 3rd 90 in 3 games, and Ten Hag was managing his minutes well. I thought bringing in McTominay for Mainoo, which is something I would rarely say is the right sub, because we're 2-0 up, we're in control. McTominay adds the physical presence to stop us being less vulnerable at set pieces and energy to the midfield. Don't want to risk a Mainoo injury. But again, 2 dribbles, 2 ball recoveries, 3 ground rules won, 2 out of 3 tackles won. Again, very, very good on the ball. And even when he loses the ball, he positions himself so well that it makes it easy for United to win the ball back. And what you have in Kobbie Mainoo is a player that is calm, that is composed beyond his years. Maturity, both on and off the pitch. A good reading of the game, a good IQ. Technical abilities are levels ahead of the rest of the team. His scanning is good, he's press resistant, he's creative, he's got the ability to recycle, move the ball forward, and he can cover a lot of ground. Kobbie Mainoo, Garnacho and Rasmus Hojlund have got a lot of good attributes, a lot of good traits. They move the ball well. They are fantastic players, and they are the future of this club. And if you can bring in the right experienced players, the right players in their prime, continue to develop them, continue to develop other players like Martinez for the future of Manchester United, reset the culture off the field, get rid of the bad eggs. This is something I believe United can build around. This is a very different video, but this should be a philosophy. We're going to build around these young talents. This is going to be the new philosophy under INEOS for me. Build around these young talents. Let me know your thoughts. Different kind of video. We'll be back for a news video later, but there's just not loads of news at the moment, so sort of changing up the content style a bit. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.